Hey everybody, just a quick run through of some of the basic Google Forms, and then we'll look into a little bit more what questions you might have after that. But you just use whatever web browser. Use it on my iPad here. I always use Safari. And in the search bar at the top, you start out with Forms. That's Forms with an S at the end, .google.com, and I have it right up there. If you're logged in, when you hit go, you should automatically jump you to a brand new form. You can see up here in the corner, I am logged in, so we're good to go. And just some basics here. I'm going to label this one. This is one you actually just got done taking. This is going to be favorite add -on. That's going to be the name of it. And you notice in the upper left corner here, it still says untitled form, but I put my title up in here. If I just tap on that right there, it automatically takes whatever you've written here and add it in there, so you don't have to duplicate or copy and paste or do any of those annoying things. So first things first, we got to have a question. You can add in some sort of form description where you could say this is where you, well, I'll just do that. This is where you pick your favorite add-on. Boom. There we go. Hide that a little bit. And then you can have a little bit of a description. This is where you could put instructions in, go, hey, answer this to the best of your ability, whatever you end up using along with there. It starts out automatically with a multiple choice question, but you can change that right here where it says multiple choice. You just tap on that, and then you have all these different options for different types of questions. For our purposes, we're going to first start out here with a short answer. And our question should be a fairly simple one that you have already answered, of course. Which was your favorite Google Chrome add-on or extension? I do need a description here because I have some extra details I need to put. So all I need to do is these three dots here. Whoa, these three dots here is your options. So if you click on that, you can add in your description that way. You can see where I'm typing here if I scroll up a little bit. Please use a one-word response to the best of... You know what? As I'm typing it, I'm realizing that's not the best way to say it. I want to say, please use the name of the add-on only. Because I wanted you to be able to just put the one word in there so I could show you some ways that we can take the results and play around with them. So I wanted the basically one word, but then I realized some of the add-ons have more than one word in them. So just use the name of the add-on only, and that's helpful there. I do have the criteria for all my students to make sure that they actually do every single question, is that you click this little button here. It says required. And it automatically makes your question, they have to answer it before they can move forward, before they can submit it. And so I want to make another question on here, and there's several different ways I can do that. I can go to the add button right here. I could add a title to it. I can add an image to it if I needed to. I can add a video to it, or even create different sections here. The way I like to do it the most is just this little button down here at the bottom is getting blocked by the iPad recording button there. There we go. Is a duplicate. And that just makes a second question. It's exactly the same as the one before. And just a little bit quicker sometimes. But this question is, why... Make sure I'm capitalizing there. Why, with a W, there we go. Why did you like this one the most? And I did my own sound effect for whatever reason. That didn't come along with it, but you can make your own sound effects. That's up to you and your personality and which ways you want to make things interesting. So this one, it automatically changed it to a paragraph. a question for me. So that's one cool thing about Google Forms is it starts to kind of guess what type of question you're starting to make, and so it makes it a little bit easier for you sometimes. And also sometimes it gets in the way, starts deleting some things, and gets a little frustrating. So bear with it. Google's always fixing these sorts of things, and it's really awesome. Because this question's a little bit, when you say something like "Why do you?" you got to add a little bit more detail to it, so it's more of a paragraph than just a quick short answer, and that's perfectly correct there. And it's automatically a required question. Now, if I wanted to add one more, I would hit the plus button over here. And I actually added all these extra questions here. I added 4 different questions right there just by hitting it a few times, not realizing that I had hit it once already. So I need to delete some of these. That's what the little trash can is for. Just delete. And let's see, I wanted to move this one. See how easy that is? You just grab the little bar right there, and you can move it above and put it in any place that I want to. I actually don't need to add any more questions. I just wanted to show you that real quick. And we can go into more detail about all the different options that we can use to share these, to make them our own, make them, change them to what we need to. But one of the most important things that I always go to is right up here in the settings, little cog up here. And just starting out with general, I like to leave it restrict to Jackson County School District 9 users, and that way the kids have to sign in, and that way I automatically get their email name. I already know exactly who it's coming from that way. Usually most of my Google Forms I start out with class period 2 if you have multiple classes. But this way it's one extra thing that they have to do. They have to be signed in. So if they're having troubles with their their Gmail sign in, so they might have some issues there. But most students, usually they mess up on that once and they go get their password and they're good. You can also limit to one response, so you can't be doing multiple times, but there's certain times when you'd want to do the same form over and over again. We created for Eagle Point Middle School, we did an electronic version of the Swiss report, so it saves a little bit of time. And so if we limited it to one response, you'd only be able to enter one Swiss report. So we took off the limit to one response. You can also make it so that students can edit after they submit, and then you can see and make it so they can see summary and charts and text responses as well, make it available to them. You can change a little bit of what it looks like and how things show whether or not there's a progress bar. You can shuffle the questions if you're making some sort of quiz and you want to make it different for every student. You'll shuffle the questions for you. And then also you can make it show a link to another response there. And then I haven't jumped into quizzes too much like this. If this is something you'd like to learn a little bit more about in the future, I would let me know, and maybe that could be something that I do next for another presentation, another tech day. But we end up saving there. And that's the basics. That's the start. And really at this point, I want you to kind of play around with it and start maybe creating your own. But first, I'm going to go ahead and show you the results. So back to you, Brian.